What is the difference between celebrities and influencers? Why does it matter? Today's guest, Eman Nafisa, can help us understand the differences in the contemporary star system. Eman, welcome to Open Source.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, look, I know this is your lane. I've been very excited to do this episode with you because I know that you really do know this ecosystem very, very well. But let's start right at the beginning. How would you define a celebrity?
Well, a celebrity is someone who has achieved broad recognition and respect for their talent and work.
Okay. And an influencer, because we want to differentiate between two. How would you define an influencer?
So, more so for an influencer, like they normally will build their personal brand on social media, whether that is TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. YouTube would kind of like the earliest days of influencers. People were like vlogging and people grew their following on there. And so they build their personal brand by like engaging an audience through like different trends, opinions, and purchases.
And it's an interesting thing, right? We're in a culture now where you've got younger people that generally look at like influencers, they're kind of the celebrities, and then older people like me, we look at like George Clooney or Julia Roberts. So what is the difference between celebrities and influencers?
I feel like a lot of people kind of like interchange the two, but honestly, that really it's not the same thing. So celebrities are cultural touch points. They're actors, they're musicians, they're public figures who build their status through bodies of work, not solely through an online presence. Whereas like influencers, by definition, they rely on consistently engaging content on social media. Their careers often revolve around like their platform performance metrics, which dictate their relevance and their income.
Right. And so what is the relationship with their audience, right? So is it the idea like if you're a celebrity, you kind of don't even need a relationship with the audience? It's kind of like, oh my God, it's so and so. But an influencer, it's like if you don't engage, like you kind of don't have an audience. Is that right? Or like what am I missing?
Yeah, so I feel like with influencers, like most people love influencers because they feel like they're more relatable than the average celebrity. If you're looking at a totem pole, celebrities are at the top. So a lot of people will sometimes think, celebrities are out of touch, but they can relate more to influencers. And the thing is, they're the big difference. I feel like a lot of celebrities since the internet age, well, more so social media age, they're being more vulnerable and sharing more things online so you can more so get their personality versus, years ago, they were unreachable. We didn't know what they were doing on a Saturday at 9 p.m. We were hearing, oh, they're like at dinner at this place and there was this person. So I feel like celebrities are being known a little bit more and we're kind of getting an inside look at, their personal lives. But, even with that, a lot of celebrities, um, you don't get everything with them. Like there's authenticity more so with influencers, but depending on the celebrity, you will get authenticity just depending on how much they want to share because most celebrities do want to live a private life. The most normal, like average person can relate more so to an influencer versus a celebrity. But I feel like our generation more so we grew up with more so celebrities than influencers. And it's just an interesting, point. They're similar, but they're different. I know a lot of influencers are starting to be considered celebrities.
It's funny how you refer to it as a totem pole. It's a really smart way to look at it. We only have a minute. So is it this idea where, okay, so if you got influencers at the bottom or in the middle or something, as they work their way up the top of the totem pole to become celebrities, is there an expectation almost that they would be less accessible at that certain fame level?
I feel like with some influencers, I'm obviously not going to name certain ones. I feel like some have become untouchable, whereas before they were very relatable. They were engaging with their audience. They were doing like meetups and stuff. And the more so they get to that celebrity status, they kind of close off. And that is what's tricky about going from influencer to a celebrity is you kind of lose that fan base a little bit. Whereas, back in the day, like more so musician wise, they had fan clubs. They had a president of their fan club who would like send them letters and that type of thing and read fan letters, and so I guess I felt like fans felt more connected to musicians in that way, but we don't really have that as much anymore. So it's a very unique perspective between the 2.
Like it's the nuances I think are vitally important because the way that we interact with people, it kind of defines society now. We've got Eman Nafisa here
Right.
on open source.